My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Transport Fever 2 as we continue on with our Let's Play series set in Canada, more specifically in British Columbia and Alberta, and in the Rocky Mountains. Now I just want to take a few moments before we get started and say the uptake on these recent videos in this series has been absolutely fantastic, and I thank you all for that. If you are enjoying the series and the episodes, please do obviously leave that thumbs up reaction to the video, and if you have any feedback, go ahead and leave yourself some comments as well. I do read them, I do take them on board, and I do my best to answer them as well. But I just wanted to say thank you for that. These days the videos are getting 100, 200, sometimes even 300 views on them, which is absolutely phenomenal, and it really does, you know, it means a lot and it helps the channel a lot. So thank you very much for that, and as I said, if you are enjoying them, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, and if you are still new here, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel as well. That also helps the growth, and it also lets me know that, you know, there is an audience out there who's enjoying what we are doing with this Transport Fever 2 Let's Play series. Now, in terms of today's episode, as you can see, we're starting at the station in Revelstoke. That's where our attention is going to be focused today, and what I'd like to do first of all is, after setting up the plastics delivery into the goods factory over the other side of the Rockies in Calgary, I'd like to actually start a train bringing some goods into Revelstoke from Calgary. As we touched on last episode, that is one of the goods that Revelstoke requires for growth, and since we've got that plastics production set up, it makes sense to actually make use of it and to bring the goods over here so that Revelstoke can experience some further growth. Now, to get them over here, we'll probably just share the passenger main line that we've set up into Revelstoke. However, what we're probably going to want to do is, at our station here in Rogers Pass, is before we set the line up and get the train purchased, we'll just go ahead and put a bypass track just like that, and we'll connect that into the line, and then the freight trains that are running down here, they can simply bypass the station, so they shouldn't cause any hold-ups with our passenger trains if they're waiting on platform. They can just pass straight on by with no interference, which is going to make things flow that little bit smoother, at least in theory. So we'll do that just now. We'll make this a two-way bypass, we don't want one way. Aside from that little adjustment, I do think the rest of the line is set up and ready to host a freight train all the way from Calgary, and I don't think there would be any other issues, none that I could see during a quick flyover before I started recording. But time will tell once we get the line set up if there is anything that I have missed. What we probably will want to do, however, is put in an extra platform here at the Calgary Industrial Park freight station, because all of the terminals that we have at the moment are in use, and I'd like to avoid sharing terminals if possible. So to make sure there's no impact on our other goods trains, we will put down a new platform at a new terminal, and we'll put it on the left hand side as we're looking at it here. As you can see, that's the way this train is going to be headed, so it makes sense for it to be over this side of the station rather than over here where it would have to cross over all the other lines that are coming in and out as well. And so we'll quickly drop a connection in like this. Given that this platform is only going to be heading over to the left, I'm not going to give it full connectivity onto all the lines heading off to the right. There's simply no need for it, so that's the way we'll keep it for now, and I think that should be enough to give us a valid line and connection between Calgary and Revelstoke. We'll find out in just a moment. Yes, we have that valid connection. Now this is shipping goods, which is a sort of brown colour, a light pale brown. So we'll opt to use, if we can find maybe that one there, I think is perhaps the most similar available. That's what we'll go for anyway. And at Calgary, we do want him to be fully loaded with a 60-second wait time. At Revelstoke, you're not picking anything up, so you can just stay at a quick 30 seconds, which should give you enough time to empty any freight that you have on board. And there we go, we'll just make sure he doesn't load anything when he is in Revelstoke and he's just unloading the goods that he's brought over from Calgary. Check everything's okay in Calgary, and it is. So I'll just quickly name this line now, and then we'll get the train up and running. Okay, there we go. This is a goods freight from Calgary to Revelstoke, so we'll take that. And then we can go ahead and get a train as well, and we'll use our depot over by Cochrane Farm, just here. And in terms of locomotive, I think we'll go for the Rogers 10-wheeler again. And in terms of cargo wagons, we want the box cars here, as we can see. And we're going to want this to be a fairly long train, because it's going to be making infrequent deliveries, because owing to the length of the line that it's running on. So we want to make sure, because of its infrequency, that it's still going to have enough capacity to make decent money per delivery. And I think that should be enough in terms of wagons, so we'll go for that. We'll leave the colour as it is, and we'll assign it to line now. And we should now start seeing goods being produced here. We do have some plastic in stock, not a lot, but that is enough to trigger the production, as we can see. In theory, this should now produce 6 units of goods. If we just accelerate the time, we can watch just to make sure everything is set up correctly and will be running correctly. We have an active connection to the goods factory, which is the main thing. We don't have any on platform just yet. I know what it'll be. We don't have any delivery method in Revelstoke to get the goods into the town. So what we need to do is this platform here. We want to set up a haulage line into the city. So we're going to need a drop-off point for our goods. We have this one here for our bricks. As we can see, our goods are more situated down here. Now, if you just have a quick look at the line here, so we know where our buses are running. So what I'm going to do is, looking at where the buses are moving through the town, is we're going to put the unload point here. That shouldn't interfere with any of our bus lines when it's making a delivery and cause any slowdown there. So now we can set up the delivery line itself, and it's going to be from that station down to here. Everything looks okay there. Again, we'll just play with the stop times here, and because we do have 2 goods being delivered to this station, we want to make sure we do select the goods icon only, because there is a chance it could pick up any bricks that have just been dropped off by our bricks freight train as well. And then here you're only unloading the goods. Once again, just set the name there, goods delivery to Revelstoke, so that's all good. So now if we go to our vehicle depot here, and we want to use the top hauling trucks, and we'll just go for 5. Because of the infrequent nature of the deliveries, I think 5 should be enough to clear this platform before the train arrives with a new full load. Okay, now that they are running, if we just head back over to Calgary, we should now start seed production. Obviously once they have plastics, but we do have a few deliveries on their way here, although these... Oh no, he had some plastics, as does this wagon here, so we should now start to see a bit of production. Not going to be a lot, because we're a bit short on plastics. How are we doing? Oh, we've got plenty to deliver. In fact, considering that, then it might be worthwhile just adding a few extra vehicles on here, and I'll take it up to 15 wagons, and we'll see if that gives us a better throughput without running the platform dry. So still nothing yet. Might just take a little while for it all to bed in. Our train has arrived on platform, but there's nothing waiting for him. So it's going to be sat idle for just a small while. I think it's only be 60 seconds anyway. That's what we set our waiting time to. just accelerate the game speed to 4 times acceleration again, just to make sure everything is going to be running smoothly. Now unfortunately we had no goods produced during this train's first run, so he will be running empty here, which is not ideal. But at least by the time this train does return back to Calgary, in theory you'd hope there should be quite a few goods waiting for him to take over to Revelstoke, but we'll keep an eye on that. Just verifying very quickly that everything is running smoothly over here, and it does appear to be. Yes, obviously our train here, he is profitable. It's a little up and down, it depends obviously how much he can pick up at each station along his run. Here we go. We have our first unit of goods available, and we also have some new vehicles, so let's just take a moment and have a look at these. We have the Mac, the Vandal, increased capacity and speed freight wagons, as well as increased capacity and speed passenger wagons. So what we'll do, rather than focus on Revelstoke today, we'll spend some time now and just look at these new vehicles. Now the first one we'll look at are the new buses, which were the Macs. So if we go to our bus services, all these, I'm just verifying, yes, all these are just freight haulage services. Here's all our buses here. We have quite a few, as we can see. So it's from this one here all the way down to the Sycamus bus. So what we'll do is we'll get our buses and we'll just do a big bulk swap on all of our bus lines and make them use the newly unlocked Mac bus. I'm going to assume it's got a higher capacity and higher speed than our existing stagecoaches, but we can just quickly check before we swap. So the stagecoach is a 5 capacity at 12 miles per hour, the Mac is 9 at 16, and it blows it out of the water in terms of power, so for hill climbs it's going to be a lot more suitable. And that's only going to cost us 5 million to swap all those, which is quite cheap when you consider how many vehicles there were there. And we'll just quickly take a look at the Mac, and we'll follow it through the town of Calgary just for a short while. So as you can see, we are starting to enter the modern era, well, not the modern era, but the combustion era, shall we say. We have our first combustion engine vehicle on our network. Obviously our delivery trucks are all steam powered, so the Mac does represent the first combustion engine. Now we also got passenger and cargo wagons for our trains, and what we were going to do here is if we take our profitable lines, so go to our trains only, sort by balance. As always, our iron ore freight is pretty much up at the top of the list there, but our intercity mainline is also doing very, very well, which is good to see. But for now we'll start with the iron ore train, and I've clicked the wrong thing there. You'll have to pardon me, it is very early in the morning as I'm recording this, and we'll just take 2 of them, because before we swap them out I'd like to see what sort of numbers we're looking at to get the similar sort of frequency and throughput. So as we can see here, right now we have 84 freight capacity and we run at 35 miles per hour. So if we wanted to replicate the carry capacity, we'd only need 7 of the wagons, which is a big difference, and it also makes a huge difference in our speed as well. As we can see, the primary difference is our top speed is now 50 miles per hour, which is a lot faster, although it is taking us a lot longer to hit the 50 miles an hour. As you can see there, at the minute we hit our top speed in 62 seconds, whereas here it's taking us 118 seconds, so just under double the amount of time. Obviously, however, the iron ore freight is quite a long journey, so it should have more than enough time to get up to those speeds. So I think for now we'll do a direct swap in terms of our capacities. So what we'll do, we'll swap out all the old gondolas for the new ones. And rather than having 12 wagons, we'll go for 7. So we're going to have shorter trains, but they do have the option or the ability to run faster. And they're also going to be shorter, which should reduce the maintenance costs. Obviously that's going to cost us now 50 million to swap just those 4 trains. So we'll modify those and we'll go ahead and quickly take a look at the new cargo gondolas. If I just get my bearings, here we are. I believe this should be one of them here. Indeed it is. That's quite a drop down there, isn't it? My word. I don't think I'd sat on one of these trains going through the Rockies before. It's quite scenic and quite pleasant, if anything. Obviously soon, hopefully, we will start unlocking some more dedicated freight locomotives, and that should see us improve our frequency and rates on our freight trains, as well as we get the more powerful engines with the higher tractive efforts as well. What we'll also do is, because we unlocked the new 6-axle passenger car, we'll go to our Rocky Mountain line, which is obviously our Peter A and our Marshals. If I just find one of them quickly. Obviously it is quite a long line, so the two trains could be anywhere between here and Calgary, so trying to spot one could be quite difficult. There we go, there's Marshals. Let's have a look here. So at the moment then we have a 48 capacity, and in terms of speed we hit 50 miles an hour in 100 seconds. If we swap the passenger car with clear story for the 6-axle, what difference does that make? So we can't quite hit 48, we will have to either go under at 40 or overkill at 60, but our speed, as we can see, is increased by 12 miles per hour. However, as we can see, we're not quite able to hit the same speeds on the medium and high grade, so it might be worth trading off down to 40 carry capacity. Even so, that still makes this train quite noticeably slower, which is quite interesting to see. So it could be a fact then, for the time being, we stick to the passenger car with clear story. As we can see here, this one does weigh in at 40 tonnes compared to 25 tonnes for the passenger car with clear story. And the trade-off of just 4 extra capacity might not be worth it. We'll leave that for now until we start getting slightly more powerful locomotives, and then we can consider swapping them out. In terms of the rest of the freight lines that we have set up, I think we'll go ahead at this point and swap out the crude oil train. Well, it's not just crude oil, it does handle refined oil as well. We'll replace the wagons on both of these, because this is quite a crucial linchpin in our network. And again, we'll replicate the carry capacity, and it is an improvement in terms of speed as well, although the acceleration probably isn't going to be quite up to scratch anymore. There we go then. Now we'll head back over to Revelstoke. If I can just quickly check the goods train that we set up. I'm looking at the wrong station there, that's the one I want. I don't think we've made a delivery yet. You're currently heading out to Revelstoke. Just head back to Calgary, despite saying we're just going to head to Revelstoke. We do have quite a few units of goods now waiting, 38, so production started nicely. But now what we're going to do is, I think we'll start some local passenger services from Revelstoke using the interchange that we set up previously. And the first town we're going to head to, I think, is Mica, up at the northern end of our map here. Now we already have a line coming out ready to head up there. As you can see, it just ends in this tunnel quite abruptly. So what we'll do, we'll take that line there and we'll just continue it upwards towards Mica, and then we'll get a local passenger service between Revelstoke and Mica. We're on the right side of the river, I just wanted to verify that. Now we are coming out into quite a long bridge here, but it is pretty unavoidable because of the sudden slope that we have here, so we'll have to accept the fact we're going to have quite a large but quite a attractive looking viaduct. And then we'll just do a simple straight line. This will not be double tracked, up towards the town of Mica. What we'll do before we head any further, however, is we'll put in a small station for the town of Mica, just so we know where we're going to be headed with our local passenger line. And I'm going to say we put it, in fact we can have a terminus station because there is nowhere else for the train to go after this city. And in terms of ideal location, there's nowhere that screams out as this is the perfect place for it. So we're going to have to compromise in terms of terrain, and I think we'll just go for just here against the riverbank, like that. And we'll just have to modify the terrain here to get rid of these angular modifications that the game has produced when we put the train line, the train station in situ. But for now we'll just quickly connect this line over towards the town of Revelstoke. I'd prefer it not to have too many bridges along here. I'd also prefer it if I could actually click the right keys here. Now, what sort of elevation were we at over here? We're quite a way up, aren't we? So we want to be heading down from here. Again, we don't want viaducts running that long. It just looks strange if you ask me. So we want to start heading downwards, but want to make it look at least semi-natural. Fortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to do that easily. Oh no, we've managed it. Yes, that's not too bad at all. And then we'll run along the river's edge, connect into Mica, and then we'll get the local services set up between Revelstoke and Mica. From here on out, it looks like this line should be fairly straightforward and easy to construct. Indeed, so here's our train line here. Make sure that is actually connected onto it. Indeed it is. Before we get anything else done, I'll just quickly smooth out some of the terrain that we had to put in place. Just like so. And again, just around this station here, just to make it look a little bit more natural looking. And then I'll just run along the length of the line with the terrain smoothing tool. Make sure we have no weird dips or bumps in the terrain. This is obviously a primary one to focus on here, where we used the terrain modification rather than a viaduct. So we just take this slope out, because it does look a little bit bizarre. It is easily fixed. It just takes a while just to bring the terrain up to the level we're looking for. There we go, that should do. Everything else should be good and okay. Yes, indeed it is. So now we can get this little local line set up. So this is going to be from Revelstoke up to Mica. In terms of the colour, we don't want this brown. We'll go for a nice light blue. And this will be an intercity shuttle. There we go. Just check our platform assignment over at Revelstoke. Yes, that's fine. They're not sharing a platform there, which is good. So all that remains to do now is get a little quick bus service set up for Mica. Although we do have some catchment on our residential area, we will just put a little bus loop in up and down here. Although the layout of the town does make any sort of genuine loop quite difficult to achieve. So it'll probably have to double back on itself. That's okay. So we want a bus tram stop outside our station. Now, could we put in a street turnaround here without it looking too odd? It doesn't look too bad. A little tunnel just to turn around is okay. So they'll come down that way now. And then we can send them through the small town of Mica. We'll head them up this way. And I think what we will do is if we head... We could maybe use this to turn around here if we're clever. Let's just see if we can get a decent connection in. That would remove an industry there. I can live with that, I think. So the bus will come up this way, turn around up here, and then head straight back down. And I'm going to offset the stops on the way back, just for increased coverage, like so. We'll just use a quick waypoint up here to make sure the bus goes the way I want it to go. And then set this line up. There we go. In terms of colour, we'll go for red. Not quite sure why the line isn't showing up on the map here. Did I use... No, they're all bus stops, so I'm not sure why the line... Oh, there it is. It's showing up now. So it's used the tunnel to turn around there. And it's doing the... Well, it's doing the wrong thing there. It's turning around backwards, if you know what I mean. I wanted it to go this way around. But we can quickly sort that out. Smith Street, then hit the way... There you go. That's the way I wanted you to go. So that's set up. So we need a depot. Yes, because there's no road connection anywhere from Mica, which is interesting. So we do need a depot. There. I know I've done a direct connection, which I don't like to do, but given the fact we have no outbound connections, that shouldn't cause a problem in terms of traffic. We can change it later if we do find we are seeing some issues there, but I don't think there will be any. There we go. Now we can get the train for the local service. In terms of the depot, we shall use this one here. It should be able to reach. I think it will. Again, we'll go for the Rogers. In fact, no. We could probably go for something a little bit cheaper to run, because it's only a small local train service. I think we'll go for the 260 Mogul. And we can stick with the small capacity passenger cars as well, because this is not going to be a busy line by any stretch. But we will colour it in the sky blue. There we go. Can't see the line, so if we just head back, there it is. There we go, there's our intercity shuttle between Revelstoke and Mica, so started to make a little bit of progress inside the Rocky Mountains. Now, in terms of our train names, obviously we do have the Peter A and the Marshals, named after 2 subscribers who left a comment indicating their willingness and their consent, shall we say, to have their names featured on this series. If anybody else would like to have a train or their name featured in the series, it doesn't necessarily have to be a train, of course. It could be a ship if you wanted. It could be a road vehicle, or it could even be a station. Do go ahead and leave a comment letting me know. If you want to also let me know what sort of vehicle and or station you'd like to see your name lent to, I'll do my best to fulfill and honour any requests. I think we are going to need further Rocky Mountain passenger lines, so if anybody would like to join the Peter A and the Marshals running the Rocky Mountain Railway, go ahead and just leave that in the comment, and in the next episode, as soon as I pick the comments up, we'll go ahead and honour any of those requests. However, for the time being, I think we'll call it a day here. All that remains for me to say, ladies and gentlemen, is thank you very much for watching and your continued support. You take very good care of yourselves. Ta-ta for now.